Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Pam Peak, host of the Club 100 podcast. Welcome to our next episode where, once again, we're going to be sharing some stories. And these stories always resonate right around mental and physical transformation with amazing women and men who just love to lift heavy things mentally, physically, and spiritually. That's right, the big three. Now, we love to be able to tell these stories so we can inspire as you watch us all perspire one way or the other. And these stories are real, raw, authentic, and it's really about sharing narratives that describe life's challenges, life's lessons, tough times, triumphs, wild and crazy times. And maybe some of this is really going to hit home and resonate with you. Listen up. You're going to find out for sure. And this is a shout out to everyone out there who wants to join up with the Club 100. Come on over to 100 Club 100. Have a little look at this wild and crazy, Twitter site. And if you're really interested and you want to become a member, put 100 and 100 right around your Twitter handle, and then let us know you want to be a member, and we will welcome you. Yes, we will. Okay. So today's guest is someone so many of us know if we're on that Club 100 chat. It is the one, the only, Shannon. Shannon, welcome aboard.
Thanks, Pam.
All right, so Shannon Terry, that's your whole name, but who the hell cares?
Yeah.
We just call you Shannon.
Yep.
And, many of the interviews I do refer to you in particular, as being ridiculously supportive and real and authentic with your own story and everything that you want to share. So shout out to you there, Shannon. That's pretty cool. So I, looking at your Twitter feed, if everyone goes over to @GoddessEngineer, what the hell is Goddess Engineer? Help me with that.
Oh, when I was in school, I had this whole idea that I was going to train only women. And I figured my whole tagline was going to be helping unleash your inner and outer goddess. So I was the engineer sculpting all these goddesses. Didn't work out that way, but the names followed me. So
I kind of like it. I just had to make sure this didn't involve mechanical engineering.
no.
and so, I love that. And then it says ranked 5th in Canada. So you're in Ontario, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So ranked 5th in Canada for women's figure over 45. So immediately I'm shuddering. I'm like, oh, she's one of those people who works so hard and does those crazy competitions.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh. And then you're in transition, it says, to powerlifting. So we're going to take a number of steps back. First of all, how did you get involved with Club 100? How did that actually happen?
It was Buddy. I spent a lot of time chatting with Buddy while he was prepping for one of his competitions. I know how hard it is, how much you need support in the background. And he said, come on over, throw up those hundreds. Even though I don't compete anymore, I still know how people are when they compete and how much support you really need.
Absolutely. Yeah, Buddy was the one who actually reached out to me. And quickly seconded by Dookie. Everyone who hasn't met these, when I say met, I mean interacted with these wonderful people who are the co-founders of the Club 100. There's a team of people who founded. Have to understand that these two guys really live it, breathe it, and really wanted to create a community. So that's pretty cool. How long ago was that, Shannon?
Oh, it's been at least easy 4 months, 5 months.
Excellent.
Could be longer. I don't even know.
Okay. When you're having a good time, you never know, right?
Yeah, you never know.
So let's take some steps backward.
Okay.
All right. How did this fascination with women's figure and bodybuilding per se, how did that originate with you? Were you always like the girl in gym class who was just crushing it and making us all feel really bad?
Never. I was in the band. I'm not a natural.
What did you play? Come on now.
I played the flute for like 14 years.
You and Lizzo. Oh my God. I can't imagine you with a flute. I gotta see a picture of that. You probably crush it right now. All right. So when did this whole fitness thing happen?
So my story is really different from a lot of people because I have a son, and my son is a natural athlete. And while he was growing up, he had struggles. And I said to him one day, I'm like, what can I do to make your life better? He said, I want to join the gym. So I got him a gym membership. And I was supportive, and you do what you do as a parent. And I remember saying to him one day, did you go to the gym today? And he's like, no, not today. I said, you need to go. You need to go. And then I sat back and I thought about it after going, I am your mother sitting on the couch pushing 200 pounds, eating a bag of Doritos, snarfing back a pizza. Who am I to tell you what to do? And I really, really thought about what I needed to do with myself. So
how old were you at that time, roughly?
How old?
Yeah. When you had this epiphany.
38, 37, okay. 38.
Okay. What's the life lesson there, everyone? These things happen at any point in life.
And you're never too old.
That's right, man. There you go.
So I threw a DVD in the VCR. Yes, I'm aging myself.
Oh my God.
And I lost weight. I lost almost 100 pounds. Didn't step foot in the gym. Did it all at home in my living room. And then I said...
No, you did it in your living room and your kitchen.
No, not in my... Yes, in my kitchen.
Yeah, you had to do it in your kitchen. Otherwise, 100 pounds doesn't disappear. You have to change up your eating habits big time.
Yeah, big time. So then I decided I was going to give back what I had learned, and I was going to go back to school. I went back to school. I took health and fitness, graduated at 40, and made a whole different life change.
Kudos to you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crushing it right there. And you're absolutely redefining this whole process so that when people go, you have to be in lockstep and you have to be 18 and then you're 21 and then you're no. You create your own damn path.
That's it. And you're never too old to learn.
All right. So there you are. You got your degree. Then what happened?
Yep. While I was in school, I became a spin instructor. So I was teaching spin.
Oh, you're like one of those really evil people, man. I'm sorry, with all due respect to all the spin instructors out there, you guys are evil. Okay.
They're all evil. I've done lots of spin classes.
I'd walk out of there on crutches and, dialing 911 going, I can't handle it. You guys are just crazy. And then you're like spinning really fast. And I'm going, and there I am. So what this really means is I have ridiculous respect for you.
Thanks. So I was teaching spin. My son was lifting weights. He said to me, he goes, Mom, come lift weights with me. We went out, we did a shoulder day, and I vowed if I could ever lift my arms again, I was going to lift weights and I was going to be strong. And that was it.
My God. So you were like 40 years old when all this stuff was going on.
Yep.
My God. And then, all right. So then you hit the gym. Were you hitting the gym with specific goals in mind? Did you just you got to have a plan, Stan?
At that time, I just wanted to look like I did something other than cardio.
I see. So, okay. Yeah. All right.
I wanted to look like I worked out.
Then what happened?
My son says to me, he goes, Mom, I'm going to do a competition. And I said, okay. And as a mother, you support. And so I'm at the show, and as a female, I'm sizing up all the other females on stage. And I'm like, yeah, Yeah, I could definitely do that. My son showed in June. I got ready and I showed that very November.
Oh my God. It only
Yep.
took you how long?
It wasn't that long.
Wow. And so you were quite ready. So was
Yeah.
this, what type of bodybuilding was this?
I started off with women's physique.
Okay. And describe the difference between physique and figure.
So you had to have a lot more muscle, lots of striations. You did still have to maintain your feminine look, but it's one down from bodybuilding, except a little bit more fat, but not a lot of fat.
Okay. I mean, obviously this is all relative, to say the least. So how'd you do with your competitions?
So the first show, my posing was bad, my suit was bad, but it was a learning experience because it was the confidence. Like, I am stepping up on stage, people are going to look at me, they're judging me. I didn't smile, I didn't open my eyes, I was nervous, I was shy, but the girls behind the stage were all, I love your music, your suit is great. It's like a community that makes it worth it.
Okay. So obviously you didn't win.
No. I showed up.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, 50% of life, right? And
Yeah.
so you showed up, and where did you take it from there, from that experience?
So I decided to try it again with what I had learned. I did a show again. That was June again, women's physique. But the show I did was the show my son did. So it was in support of cancer. So all the proceeds went to cancer. So at the end of the day, win or lose, I learned things about myself, but it was a good cause. And it was a really great show. Like, just not the cause, but the feel, the vibe. It was warm and welcoming, and everybody was like, "Wah," So it was just a great show to do.
And then what happened? Just keep going with the journey.
So I did a lot better, not as lean as I should have been, but my stage performance was on. My confidence was there. My routine was better. My suit was better. So I was learning about myself. But that show qualified me to go compete for a pro card.
Okay, explain to everyone what competing for a pro card means.
So once you go to a pro card show, I don't know if it's like this in the States, but here in Ontario, if you take overall in your competition, you get a pro card, which means you can compete worldwide for money and sponsorships and bragging rights.
So did you compete for a pro card?
I sure did.
And?
Oh, I got slaughtered.
All right, you got slaughtered. So I
got slaughtered.
So then what happened?
I think that show probably was one of my best shows ever because my physique was banging. My stage presence was banging. Everything about that show, no matter where I placed, I walked out a winner because everything I worked towards. I had taken 8 weeks off. I had surgery, and I still put in a 20-week prep. I had my coach at the time, he was blown away by how hard someone in their 40s worked.
Okay.
So at that point, it didn't matter where I placed because I know that was my best.
Awesome.
And I should have left it at that and walked away. But
what's the but part?
But at that point, I was so self-absorbed. It was, now I had to be perfect.
Uh-oh, the P word entered the conversation.
Yes.
Oh, God, here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then what happened? I think we're starting to go into the dark years.
The dark years. So I did a few more shows. I got myself a new coach. My new coach was the best thing that ever happened to me. He became my best friend. He brought my physique to a place that I didn't think it would ever go. And at that point, we decided if I was going to stay in women's physique or if I should drop to figure. And he said to me, he says, I want you to go out and have fun. This is why I want you to stay in physique. He goes, if you want to win, you drop to figure. He goes, the choice is yours.
What do you mean drop to figure? Explain to everyone.
So it's just your 4 mandatories. So you're just your quarter turns. You don't have to be as muscular as I was. You had to be lean, but not as lean.
So it's basically
a little softer.
It's physique light.
Yes, physique light.
All right. But he said you should stay in physique.
He wanted me to stay in physique because he knew how much fun it brought me. That I was doing my 60-second routine to music and really shining, and you could bring out your personality more.
Okay. And then what happened?
I decided to drop to figure because at that point it wasn't about being fun. It was about placing at a pro card. It was being the best in Canada.
Okay. And you wanted to, what you were doing probably is looking at your odds. The odds of your, crushing it in physique might be much more challenging. So by going to figure, it upped your ante and you looked at all right. Then what happened when you did figure?
So I did really well at a show, which qualified me to go to pro card. I went to pro card and I came in 5th, which is top 5 in Canada. And I was disqualified because I was late for prejudging.
So
yeah. So my heart was broken. I remember calling my coach. My mom was with me and I'm crying. And I'm like, my body can't do anymore. I now have to go back and compete next week because I've lost my qualification for pro card. And you just can't even explain.
You were devastated.
Yeah. 20 weeks for what? For the girl, like, no offense to the girl that took my place, but mine was earned, hers was given. And no one knows that I was disqualified, by very, very few know that I was disqualified because it was really the end of me. It was it.
Then what happened?
So I competed the next week. I requalified. My relationship with my mom was going south because she was the blame for all of my problems. Even though she wasn't, she was always my biggest support. She put my makeup on, she wiped my tears, she glued my boobs in my suit. And then my partner hated me and he was leaving because I was selfish and I was self-absorbed. And I thought to myself at this point, going, good, I don't need any of them in my life because as soon as they're all gone, I can go to the gym, not worry about anything except my food, my gym, and my exercise, and be rid of everybody. Like my partner and my mother, be rid of them. And then it didn't faze me that I hurt people as bad as I did in the process. And then I went for my post-show bloods. My doctor said, no more, you're done. And at that point, it hit me that not only is my physical health deteriorated, I've pushed away the people that care about me the most. And here I am wanting a pro card. Is it worth it? So I had to tap out and I ended.
And you ended it at that point. You put your foot down.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm done.
I'm done.
That was an incredible time in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, you were having all of these revelations take place. It was like a tsunami.
Yeah.
Realizations. And I know how incredibly hard this is to talk about, needless to say. And that's why I think we're all honored that you're sharing this because, got a news flash for you, laugh. There's so many people out there who've crashed and burned. And that's exactly what you did. You crashed
That's exactly
and
what
burned.
I did.
And so what did you do when you decided, okay, I can't do this? I can't do this anymore.
So I ended up seeking therapy. And trust me, it's hard to get a therapist when everything around you is so messed up. And I broke ties with my coach, and he said he would always be there for me and he would always be my friend and to reach out. I gave up my gym membership because at that point it had to be all or nothing. And I know when I was giving up my membership, they ask, why are you giving it up? And I'm crying. And I said, I am not passionate about fitness and I need to be. I said, eventually I'll be back, but I can't right now. And the guy's like, I totally get you. I understand. We'll see you soon. And then I worked with my therapist and she helped me redevelop myself to be just Shannon, not Shannon the competitor, not Shannon the bodybuilder, not to apologize to the people that I cared about the most. And it was especially hard because I had to apologize to my mom. And she said to me, she says, I'm your mother. Don't ever apologize to me. I will always be there. And I'm like, yeah, but it makes me feel bad that I treated you so bad. Because you are my biggest fan.
You're just doing reparations. You're cool.
Yeah.
And it's part of the healing process.
Exactly.
So cool. Absolutely. Okay. And so now you're kind of hitting the reset button.
Yeah.
And regrouping, getting the help and support that you need, grabbing people who are already your support system, but you thought maybe they're not. And now you discovered that they are, and that's all fantastic. And then what happened?
So my therapist, she was really good. She helped me with bringing more positive back into my life. She helped me regain a good attitude about food, to not feel guilty about eating certain things. So that was the hugest struggle because the food was not food at that point anymore. Everything was a calorie and a macro, and just to redevelop my how I felt about food. So her and I were together for over a year, and then she said she felt that I was ready to go on my own. And if I, possibly maybe consider a gym membership, if not, just do what I was doing. But at that point, I still didn't have anything developed fitness wise. I had a home gym. I did a little bit here, a little bit there, but nothing solid. There was nothing. I work well with goals and I had no goals.
Mm-hmm. And then what happened?
So I bought a house last year and I put in my she sheds and then I decided that I was going to have a goal and I was going to bench 225. And that was it. And that was my goal. And I was going into the sheds and I was benching 225, which, brings the spirit back up because now I have a goal. Might not be achievable, but I have a goal. And then when I hit the 225, Shadow, who's part of the 100 Club, he says to me, no woman that can bench 225 should not be powerlifting. And I thought about it and I'm like, yeah, whatever. My squat sucks. I can't powerlift. And everyone's like, you'll get there. Do it.
Had you ever in the past considered powerlifting?
Never.
Hello, Shadow. What the hell, What did you just start now? My goodness gracious. I'm just curious, why did you choose 225? Like, why wasn't it 200 or 235? Or what did you just like pull it out of your left ear or something?
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to bench 2 plates.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're doing the 2 plate game. All
Yeah.
right. I'm totally cool. I want to make sure that everyone was all on the same page with you on this one. So that's fantastic. And so you started, when did you just start really learning more about powerlifting and what's involved? I mean, did you get a coach? Did you?
No, I don't have a coach. I've been able to do a lot of it on my own. Because when I tested my lifts, I'm actually not stronger than I thought I was. So my numbers are actually pretty good considering I've had no coaching. It's been a little bit of a transition because I know when you do bodybuilding, it's all about the motion, the squeeze, the feel. You feel. And someone just says to me, they're like, pick it up, put it down. That's it. That's all you got to do. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm standing in front of the bar going, just pick it up and put it back down. And it's been a hard transition just because everything I want to do is like, feel the move, feel the muscle, feel this, feel that, feel that. And now it's like, no. And that sums it all up. Pick it up, put it down.
So the body for powerlifters is quite different.
Yeah.
Body for figure or physique or anything like that. And if you look at the Olympic, female powerlifters, they're scary people. And,
they are very scary.
Yeah, they're scary people. And these are incredibly powerful human beings. But they, whatever their body composition is, outside of just building a lot of muscle and stuff, is irrelevant, it appears.
Yeah.
So how was that on your mind after spending years just kind of like going, I got to get that perfect glute and I got to be shredded and then all of a sudden it's like, pick it up, put it down.
It's actually been pretty good because, I'm going to deadlift. So what do you eat? Gummy bears? Not a piece of lettuce in a protein shake?
I know, seriously. How about little lemon chicken? And so, yeah, I know. So, wow, that's a hell of a transition.
Yeah.
And if anyone out there wants to go to @GoddessEngineer, I mean, have a look at some of these videos. They're kind of jaw-dropping. It's like, she just lifted half a house. How did she do that? And she goes, yeah, and that was fun. And you're like, no, you're seriously disturbed. You lifted half a house. How'd you do that? So, I mean, your Twitter feed is just absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And it's very, very inspiring. And it's a hell of a journey that I don't think people fully understand, which is why we're talking about it right now, because it involves so many of the stages in a person's life when they're establishing who they are, a sense of purpose, meaning, self-confidence, self-worth. And whenever, always be careful when that P word shows up. That's why my eyebrows went up. When perfection enters the conversation, I want to be perfect. Then we start doing this is all going to be bad because it's so interesting. Remember years ago when Nadia Comaneci, at the age of 14, I think she was 14, won the gymnastics with a perfect score. She got 10s all the way across. I mean, she was one with the little pigtails and everything. It's kind of cute. And, and that followed her all of her life. I mean, obviously she was a magnificent gymnast. And she went on to, I think she married Bart Connor, another gymnast, and they set up a wonderful club where they teach gymnasts and stuff. So one day I was at a really interesting unveiling of a women in sports film that Billie Jean King had done. Yeah. And who's sitting next to me but Nadia Comaneci? And so, there were just VIPs everywhere, and I was representing sports medicine and all that. And I looked at her and we were becoming friends. And I just said, and I decided to mess with her. I like to mess with people. I do. And so I said, so how's it feel to be perfect? And then she got really quiet and smiled because she's only been asked this, I don't know, like 3 million times. And she looked at me and she smiled and she said, I'm not perfect. My scores were. So let's be clear, right? I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. My scores were perfect. So my scores adhered to specific requirements to be able to get a 10. I'm not perfect. I just happen to have met those requirements. I never forgot that for the rest of my life. It was like I sat there, it's true. And when you get down to it, any living thing is not perfect. But what the numbers are associated with them may be. So for instance, here's my computer. It's an inanimate object. It's not a living being. So I can now expect perfection out of my computer. Why? Because if suddenly, my video poops out or something right now, it will be fixed. It will be perfect again. So will the brakes in my car. But you as a human being, me as a human being, we're not perfect. What we are is beautiful, priceless, precious human beings. And whatever those metrics are and back and forth, when I got big scores on my medical school exams or whatever, that didn't make me perfect. It just said I was a little smarty pants person. That's all. I know how to score it. You can game it. You know how to play it. So it was very interesting, when you brought up the P word, because I think it's important for everyone out there to kind of do their own little assessment. How often do you say perfect? I wasn't perfect today. And I said, well, who the hell was asking for perfection? The hell? You can't, no. So here you are now in a brand new space.
Yeah.
With your head kind of reset and all that stuff. Tell us what happened when you started changing your own career and how that all of this fit in. So when this whole, I'm reading off your feed here, exercise therapist for seniors.
Yeah. So
what's the story there?
So after I graduated, I did take a job at a commercial gym, learned a lot. There was a job opening at my work and it was just a small 5-month contract. I told my employer, I said, I want to go, I want to try. And what I will learn there, I can bring back because it's an aging population. When I was there, they did hire me and my 5-month contract, I'll be there 6 years in September.
That's so much for the 5-month contract.
And I have learned so much from those seniors.
Like what?
Their goals are different. They are not there to be fit. They are not there to have muscles. They are not there to lose weight. They're just there to put away the groceries, get off the toilet, sit on the floor with their great grandkids, because I work with some seniors, and I work with a lot of people with Alzheimer's, and it's what they know. They know I'm coming to see them at 3:00 on Monday, and they're going to come to the gym because this is what they know. I'm a part of their life.
So you're talking about functional then.
Yes.
So these are all functional things. This is something that is really an emerging trend in training per se, which is, functional fitness. And so, they're not gunning to, fit into a size 4 jeans. What they'd like to do is get out of a chair without calling 911. And so there you have it. It's all about trying to be and remain as independent as possible in life.
And that's it. Yeah, that's exactly it. I work with a lot of people, even post-rehab. So slips and falls, broken femur, broken ankle, and they all need to rehab. And then a lot of them, like I work with a gentleman, he's a doctor, he's 88. He's never stepped foot in a gym in his life. And I'm like, well, why are you here? He goes, I don't know. He goes, I preach fitness my whole medical career. He goes, I figured I'd just see what it was all about.
Oh my God, never too late.
88.
Never too late.
Never too late.
Oh my gosh, I know for, generations, physicians, never really walk the talk. Hey, listen, I'm a doctor. I should know, right? This is why my tagline and for my brand is the doc who walks the talk. So I actually get out there, I sweat, there's a little dirt under my nails from crawling around and, whatever. And I've always been of the belief that you cannot sell something unless you actually practice it. Yeah. So, it's like teaching someone how to drive a car, but you've never driven one. There's only so much you get from a book and a couple videos and, whatever, but you got to be out there and doing it. So I love this. How has working with the aging, it's kind of a weird thing to say aging. We're all aging. If you're 12, you're aging. So with this more senior population, how has that affected how you look at yourself and your own goals and your own fitness?
I found with working with them, it's made me have more of a sense of my own self-care. Like they're not there. They don't care if they're going to bench press 225. They care about being able to lift their arm over their head. So it's all about now my self-care as well. Like, don't see somebody because you're injured. Take the steps to not get injured.
Prevention.
Exactly. So I see everybody always, acupuncture, chiro. I believe in all of it because it's part of my self-care and it's going to keep my body intact.
And so, it's interesting as a physician, I've also, over the years worked with so many people who are older just because the diversity of the population. And it's constant reminders like there, but by the, will of God, go I. And you have to say to yourself, what am I doing to not be in that spot? The worst spot of all for someone who is more elder is to be frail, because once you enter frail, there's no coming back. You can improve it somewhat, but there's a point of no return. You never want to get to frail. You can get to weak. You can get weaker and that kind of thing, but just don't get to frail, because once you're frail, that's a terrible place to be. So I keep that in the back of my mind as I'm lifting, as I'm, doing my functional, fitness and the rest of it. And it's you're in a very lucky place, Shannon, because the people you work with are a constant reminder of why you do what you do for yourself.
And also, none of them are of weak mind. They might be weaker of body, but they are 70, 80, 90 at the gym 3 and 4 times a week with aches and pains that we all take for granted and just go. And they have way more struggles than I ever would, but they still go and they still do their best and they still pump that iron and do their cardio. Mm-hmm. Their mind is way stronger than mine will ever be. Mm-hmm. Maybe when I'm in my 80s and 90s, but we have excuses. We make excuses and they just don't.
It's interesting. The great researchers who look at the centenarians, 100-year-olds, say that one of the reasons why these people were able to thrive so much is because they tend to be what they call stress shedders. They shed stress.
Okay.
So, and they tend to adapt and adjust as things happen in their life much better than people who get stuck. Yeah. And then make that problem that they're feeling, the center of their life, instead of just saying, oh, well, stuff happens. I'm dealing with it as best I can. I'm going to move on now. that type of thing. So I think that's very cool too. So if a young woman walked up to you and said, I'm really interested in getting into competition at Physique, Figure, whatever, what would you tell her?
I think that if that's your goal, I think you should do it. But at the end of the day, do not sacrifice your love, your family, your friends for a little medal trophy. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. And spoken from someone who, has graduated from the School of Hard Knocks. And no question about it. I could tell from the pain in your face that just revisiting a lot of this is super tough. And all I can tell you is that we're also honored that you would share that with us, because not everybody would. But I think that this is an important narrative for people to hear. So it's like going into something with eyes wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And being given a super heads up. And that's true for us, no matter what our profession, whatever it is. I was thinking, I was hearing the other day, I think I read somewhere that Michael Phelps was quoted as saying, I would not recommend the Olympics to my own children.
Wow.
After what he went through.
Yeah.
And, he was just an innocent kid who just knew how to crush it in the pool. But God Almighty, what a journey that was.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering about people like Simone Biles and others who've really gone through a whole lot too. I just think it's all about going into it with eyes wide open, and with some really important guidance from someone like you. I think your words are just so powerful, on the overall, really super powerful. And what's really making me happy is that you're taking your immense talents and you're applying them to a demographic that's all but a write-off by so many people's societies. You're in Canada, I'm in the United States, and I'm here to tell you, honey, if you're a woman, especially over the age of 55, write-off. If you're a guy, you get a longer pass at it. But once you start, kind of even looking like a little bit, as it were, more of an elder, right off. And I think it's an absolute crime, what we do. So everything we could do to help people increase their quality of life, like you are. Have you ever had a story of talking to one of these people that you work with who's given you some feedback or some a feel good that day?
The thing with I always say I have 100 grandparents, because they are all so very inspiring, every one of them. And I just so happen, I had a gentleman, 96 years old, tricep pressing 100 pounds, and he said to me, he's just said to me, he says, this is my only body. I got to live in it. So I'm going to keep it strong because my brain is a marshmallow. And that's
oh my God, that's so excellent.
And he would come to the gym 3 times a week just because that's all he knew in life, was to be strong, because he was a marshmallow.
Oh my God, that just cracks me up. And I bet these stories are just endless. And every time you show up to work and to, work with them and give them support and everything, that more and more and more, little bits of wisdom and wit are shared with you, you lucky person, you.
They're just so great, because I've noticed, like, they've been with me when I was getting ready for show. They've been with me getting ready for powerlifting. And you know what? They don't care. They don't care if I'm 300 pounds, 100 pounds, if my skin is purple or I have spinach in my teeth. No judgment. They just don't care. I'm good to them. They're good to me. I think we need to learn less judgment from our seniors and bring it forward in our life, because then people would be a lot happier because they just don't care.
I love it. Well, that's actually what the research shows. After a certain age, it's like, you don't like it, leave.
Yeah.
They don't care. I mean, they're like, look, I made it to 75. You're only 50. Good luck with that, dude. And I'm already at 75. It's sort of like, they say life is a marathon. Well, these people are already at like mile 22, of 26.2. And they're like, and you're just starting your marathon. So,
Yeah.
okay, who's here and who's there?
That's it. Exactly.
I love that kind of that analogy, because it makes so damn much sense. And then finally, as we're kind of wrapping this up, because this has just been, a total mind blower for me. And again, so honored to really, have this conversation with you. So, Club 100.
Yeah.
Why has that been good for you?
It gives me, it's been good because it gives me a sense of community. And we all have goals. And having people, whether your goal is different than mine, having someone to share it with is a huge support, because not everybody has a lot of support outside of other places. So we all need a reason to continue with what we're doing, to keep going on our own path. And with the club, at least we are a community, even though I might be a power lifter, you might be a marathon runner, you might be aspiring a bodybuilder, you might just want to swim. It's unique because there's so many different aspects to them. Everyone's different. And
everyone is supportive.
Everyone's
there for each other. And there's some real characters in this club. And Shadow, that's you. And no, seriously, just wonderful people. And what I see in the chat is just a ridiculous amount of support and, enjoying one another's experience. And it's just nice to know someone's there, because, a lot of people, tend to try to go it alone. And that's really, really tough.
It's really
so
tough.
You don't have to, because we're here. There's no question about it. Shannon, I can't thank you enough for, spending some time with us on the Club 100 podcast. This has just been absolutely fabulous. And everyone, that wraps up another episode of the Club 100 podcast. Could you please follow us at 100 Club 100? And remember, we welcome all new members. So make sure you let us know when you put those 100s around your little title there on Twitter, and then we'll give you that wonderful welcome. I'm Dr. Pam Peak, and it is my absolute pleasure to be the host of the Club 100 podcast. Have a terrific day.